You're going to have to stop depending on other people to motivate you. You're going to have to get that motivation from within, which is definitely easier said than done because you're so used to being with people. We love community, we love friends, we love family, we love all of that, but they're not always the right people that's going to push us to our next level. So when we are on that journey of growing and being better, you sometimes you're going to have to separate. That might mean being lonely for a season. You're going to have to be in a season of isolation where you're super locked in. But just because you're by yourself doesn't mean you're going in the wrong direction. And that's what I want to explain today. I want to explain the importance of having that lonely season, the isolation season, and just showing how that season is for growth. That doesn't mean that you're a failure. So before I break any of that down, I do want to first introduce myself. My name is Jelan Abrams, and this is the Unknown and Talented podcast. So it's going to be lonely. Anytime you're growing, you're leveling up, getting to a new stage in your life, you kind of separate from the people you're around, which really is like, is not a bad thing. It's a part of growth. Because if you think about every single friend that you had, right? You have that friend is because of the environment you were in. You're friends with someone from elementary school because y'all were in the same environment. From work because y'all in the same environment. You meet all these people in the environment that you're in. But once you move into a different environment, it's kind of hard to stay friends with that person. Have you ever moved from somewhere you used to live in another state, now another state, and that communication is different because you're in a different environment. You're a whole different person than you used to be. I used to live in Raleigh. I'm in Charlotte now. The minute I moved here, communication with all my friends is not the same because it's like the distance makes it hard. But it's not always a physical distance. Sometimes it's a mental distance. Sometimes is that your community that you're with, they were in a mentality of laziness and you were in a mentality of laziness. So it was easy to be around those people because y'all are comfortable. Y'all are all lazy. Y'all don't have no drive. Y'all can stay around. But then when that one person changes that mindset of like, I'm driven. I have a big goal. I want all these things to happen. Now it's a disconnect because they want to be lazy. You are driven. You're trying to better yourself. And it's like those things don't match. It's like living in New York and living in North Carolina, living in California, living in New York. It's two different worlds. And it's hard to, y'all might still communicate on some levels, but it's like it don't work. That's a long trip to go from someone lazy to go to someone driven. But just understand that it's okay to have that mindset. You have to now find the people that's driven as well as you. You're gonna have to find the people. If you relocate, you're gonna have to just find people in that new location. But you're gonna have a season of where you're gonna be by yourself. But that by yourself season is your growth season. It's not your season of I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It's gonna feel like that, but you're growing at this point. So right now, your environment reflects who you are, but it doesn't reflect on the person you're trying to be. So you want to start finding people that are similar to the person that you're trying to be. And in that process of finding those people, you're going to have to be, by yourself because you can't find those people. You don't want to start looking for people that was just like the people you used to be with. And I think that's the challenge of we're so used to being around people and not wanting to be lonely. We want to attach to anybody that's going to give us attention. So just sharing an example of this is me when I was in the dating game. I was just dating whoever gave me attention. She was interested in me, I'm gonna hang out with her for a while. She's interested in me, I'm gonna hang out with her for a while. Not thinking about my vision. So you stop hanging around one person because I'm like, okay, she's not really looking for marriage. But then when you're by yourself, you're like, I don't want to be by myself. So now she's giving me attention. I want to go to her to give me attention. And that's the same thing, is that these type of people that you're hanging around that wants to be in the club all day drinking, that's not the kind of environment you want to be in. So you kind of isolate yourself and now you get lonely and now you're like, man, I need to be with somebody. This is uncomfortable. And now you just go find those same type of people. And in that period of time, once you do isolate yourself and you're by yourself, that's the time you want to grow. So when I'm out here just trying to date any single woman that I want to date because I'm lonely, that's the time I can grow and be ready for my wife. That's the time you want to grow and be ready for that next community. Because the thing about finding a new community, that's the hard part is that you don't want to find that new community of people, but you're not the person you need to be a part of that community. Because once you're a part of that new community, y'all have to push each other. So you might find someone that's driven just like you, and you're like, oh man, yeah, yo, we can lock in, we can do all these things. And now they start pushing you. Now they start telling you to do stuff. Now he's like, oh, when are you gonna create that content? Oh, I'm gonna create it tomorrow. Tomorrow come. You create that content? Nah, I didn't create that content. Next week, you create that content? Nah, I didn't create that content. Now they don't want to be your friend anymore. They don't want to hang out with you anymore. Now you're back by yourself again. So you found the people you want to be, you found that community, but you weren't ready for that because you have to give as much as you take. You can't just look for the community so you can get stuff. What are you giving into that community? And that's something that I had to realize is that I'm looking for that community, but I wasn't that person that needed to be a part of that community. I wasn't a person that was driven. I wasn't a person that was waking up early, getting to the gym, reading my Bible, having that faith. I wasn't that person. And now trying to find that community, trying to be around those people, it doesn't match because I'm in the mindset of lazy procrastinator and they're in the mindset of driven, trying to get things done. And now you miss out on a perfect opportunity to be with a community because you're not ready. So yes, that isolation period is lonely. It's like, man, I don't want to be here. I want to be around people. Don't settle. Don't settle for a community that's not where you need to be mentally. Just lock in and get it right. And the thing that you need to do is not telling you to get rid of everybody that you have in your life. Like, you not ready, cut you off. Don't do that. Audit your community. Think of the list of friends. Look in your phone, the last few people you text, the last people you called. What people are you communicating with that's actually pushing you to be better? That's actually uncomfortable to have conversations with them because every time you talk to them, they trying to make you the best version of yourself. And also look at the people that's draining you. Every time you talk to them, you just so emotional after talking to them. Like, man, you don't want to be around those people or ever always asking for favors. Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? Those are the kind of people you want to get rid of. But the people that's going to be holding you accountable, that's actually pushing you, that's the people you want in your life. I have my uncle, me and my uncle work out like crazy. He's texting me early in the morning. I'm in the gym. Where you at? I'm in the gym. Constantly, I'm messaging him. I'm in the gym. Where you at? Posting selfies showing that we working out. And that helps me is because now I can't miss too many days in the gym in a row. If I miss one day, all right, cool. You didn't miss one day. 2 days, you're like, all right now. 3 days, like, okay, man, like you got to get it together. Like you said your goal was to be in the gym and you missing 3 days, like it's no excuse. You got to figure it out. But that's that uncomfortable conversation that I'm willing to have because it's a blessing. Because without that uncomfortable conversation, I'm not gonna be able to reach my goals. So if you don't have any people in your life that you okay with having uncomfortable conversations with, you're gonna just have to create people. Yes, create imaginary friends to be able to push you. It sounds crazy, but you're actually doing it right now. Listening to this podcast, I'm speaking to you to push you, to motivate you. It might be things I'm telling you that's like, I don't know if I want to do it. Do it. It's going to change your life, right? I'm not able to check in on you to see if you're actually doing it, but just take the advice. Like I've done research, I've tried things in my own life. These things work, okay? And this is the same thing that I've done when I was in a season of complete isolation by myself, no wife, just trying to figure it out. It was hard. It was definitely hard. But what I used to get through that, I used Eric Thomas podcast. So those were my best friends. Eric Thomas, CJ, Jamal, and Carl. Those were my best friends. I listened to the podcast every single day. I listened to the jokes they had in the podcast. I knew about their life. I knew about their kids. I knew about so much stuff in their life, but those are my friends. And I listened to them non-stop because I was in a season of, yo, I'm by myself. Everybody that's around me doesn't have the life that I want, doesn't have the drive that I want, that I need to get to the next level of my life. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I didn't find anybody. I'm like, I just got to figure it out. And sometimes you need somebody to push you to do it. You got me. You got me. You can listen to other podcasts as well that can help you push you. You can listen to audiobooks. People out here pushing motivation, giving you actionable steps to actually become that better you. That's what you got to look for. That's the things you got to do. Instead of feeding your mind music, listening to music all day where they just talking crazy about women and women's talking crazy about men. It's music is crazy. Like I'm not going to get in a tangent with that, but you have to really protect what you're actually feeding yourself. And podcasts, audiobooks, education, that's gonna get your mind right in that season of isolation where you actually learn and soaking up knowledge. Isolation is not a punishment. Isolation is for growth. And I have a perfect quote for this too as well. So sometimes when you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried, but you've actually been planted. And I love this quote because me and my wife right now are working on a garden. So we have the garden, we made the flower bed, and now it was time to start putting the seeds in. So the seeds are in a container, right? And all the seeds are together. All the seeds are together in this little package. Perfect, right? But when you're planting these seeds, you can't plant them together. They have to be planted one by one and separated. Because if you plant it together, when they're trying to grow, all the roots are going to be all together and they're going to be choking each other out and it's not going to survive. So for growth, these seeds need to be separated. They need to be by themselves because you put it in the dirt, it might be dark. It's going to take a little while for it to grow, but you grow in that isolation period. And that's the same thing for us. It's like when we're by ourselves, you might not feel good. You felt good in that package of seeds and all y'all together, y'all partying it. But now when it's time to grow, you're going to have to be by yourself. And once you're by yourself, you feel like you're alone, like, man, why? Why am I down here in this dirt? But you're being planted, you're being tended to. And that person that's tending to you is God. God has you by yourself, but you're never really by yourself. Because God is with you, God is watching, God is making sure everything is okay. And that's what we're doing. We planting them seeds, we watering them. We making sure it's good. It's in good sunlight. We watering it some more. We're tending to that garden. It just felt so good doing it. But the thing about it is like after you're planted and after you start growing, then it's beautiful. Now everyone looks at you like, wow, like you're amazing. And like they start cheering you on, start rooting you on. Like all of that once you go through that dirt and you come out that dirt and now you're brand new and that's that's what life is about. It's about going through that alone time and coming out stronger. And you just have to realize that once you're going through that time alone, you're not really alone. God is with you. God is the one tending to that garden, making sure that no bugs and birds and eat the seed. Like you have that protection when you're by yourself. So one thing that I think that's very important to practice when you're in that isolation period is building your faith, is reading your word, understanding how God is speaking to you in that season of alone time. Because we get so busy with life, so busy with our goals that we forget to go back to the Father. We forget to be able to thank Him for the little things that we do have. So that's definitely a great practice because He's building you in this time. He didn't bury you in the dirt and say, "Oh, just you just down there and I don't care." No, this is the time to transform and to be new. I just love that quote because it's just such a great example of just that isolation time. So I'm gonna give you that quote one more time just in case you missed it. Sometimes when you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried, but you've actually been planted. So don't get too discouraged when you're in that time alone. Like you're going to grow in that period of time. So the last point I want to talk about is don't run away from the isolation. You probably been listening to this podcast and you're like, that sounds good. Thinking about the people that's draining you and like, I can't do that to them. Nah, I'm gonna take a couple things Jelan said. I might listen to a podcast or two, but I'm not gonna fully lock in. You don't want to run from that isolation because the more and more you run away from what you're called to be, the growth that you need to go through, it's going to be very uncomfortable. Like you're going to make it harder on yourself by staying in those environments because God is calling you for more. He's calling you out of that situation to do greater. And the more and more you're disobedient, and it is disobedience. If God wants you to do something else, you need to move. So an example of this is a story in the Bible about a man named Jonah. So God called Jonah to talk to the people of Nineveh. He didn't want to do it. He's like, I'm not going to do it. He was hiding from God, like, find someone else to do it. I'm not, I don't feel comfortable doing it. I'm not doing it. So God made it very uncomfortable for him to the point where he was eaten by a fish. He was in this fish for 3 days. I could be wrong, but I believe it's 3 days. So don't quote me on that part. But basically, he was in a fish for 3 days, and once he finally got out the fish, he did what God told him to do. He talked to the people of Nineveh. But that's the same thing with us. God wants us out of a place we don't want to go. God is calling us for more, and we're going to be disobedient. We're not going to listen. We're going to stay exactly where we are. And it's going to be very uncomfortable. You're going to be like, man, why is God doing this to me? Why? Because he wants you to do more. There's a calling on your life to do more. And that calling might call for isolation. It's a time to move into that next period of your life. You can't stay there anymore. You've outgrown it. So you got to understand that God is calling you out. He's calling you out to do more. And to do more, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone, get out of the people that you're around. You're going to have to be lonely. You have to be in isolation, but just know that you're planted. You're not buried. He's having you go through that season of struggle to get to the next one. That season of struggle is okay. Like, it's tough. It's easier said than done. Like, it's easier said than done to be by yourself and having them days where you're just crying because why am I by myself right now? But you're not by yourself. You're with God. So just know that time of isolation is a time that you can really lock in, be in tune with God, him speaking you, ordering your steps so you can know where you can go in your next season. But I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited on this new season where your life is going to go. And like I said, I'm with you all the way. Every single Wednesday, I'm going to be locked in with you, giving you that motivation, giving you that push, making sure you get out of that comfort zone, because that comfort zone is where dreams die. That comfort zone is not where you want to be. You've outgrown it. Like, it's too small. We have this snake plant, and snake plants don't die. Like, snake plants, don't matter what you do, they're not going to die. Our snake plant was dying. And we're looking at the leaves like, why are these leaves folding over? And what we realized is the way the roots grow, it grows kind of like in a circle. So you don't really realize that it's outgrowing the pot. And like, it's time to get out of that pot and go somewhere else. So if you're not moving from that environment, moving from that comfort zone that feels good, you're going to end up dying in that place. Not literally, but your dreams, your goals are going to end up dying where you're at, dying in that comfort zone. It's time to move. It's time to get up out of that environment, get out of that environment with those lazy people that are not driven, find that new community. You never know. You might be able to bring one or two people that's in your last season, but it's very rare. It's very rare. If you are, that's a blessing, but understand you got to be okay with nobody coming with you. You got to be okay with, I'm just by myself right now. Because once you get to the other side of it, that's when you're going to get all the praise. All the, my goodness, you did a great job. When you get on the other side of it, like when you're in that journey, while you're going, when you're in that dirt, when you just been planted and you're like, man, I'm by myself, they not going to say, good job, you doing it. When you start growing a little bit, good job. They don't start cheering until you fully blossom. Like, wow, yeah, you did it. Like, that's when the cheers come. But when you're going through it, you might just have to be that person in the auditorium by yourself. That one person clapping for you is you. Every day you look in the mirror, congratulations, you did it. Start speaking to yourself, those positive affirmations every single morning. And that's the last thing I'm gonna leave with you. You're gonna have to be your own cheerleader. You're gonna have to write in your journal gratitude, what you're thankful for, small wins that you have, celebrate those small wins. You might have to celebrate by yourself. That's totally fine. Celebrate in private. That's totally fine. But those praise and everything, you have to put it on yourself. Set small goals that you You started going to the gym. You started creating content. Set those things for yourself to cheer yourself on, because until you actually succeed and you're doing your thing, that's when you're going to hear, oh my goodness, you're great. You did a good job. But until then, tell yourself you did a good job. I'm telling you, you did a good job. Okay. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Like I said, just because you're in isolation does not mean you're buried. You've been planted to grow, to get into that new season, that brand new version of yourself. So just remember that when you're in that isolation, okay? So again, my name is Jelan Abrams. This is the Unknown and Talented podcast, and we'll see you next week.